Let's talk a little bit more about what's going on with two United States congressmen. Cedric Richmond is a Democrat from Louisiana. Congressman Tim Scott is a Republican from South Carolina. Gentlemen, thanks very much for coming in. How do you think Romney did today?
Well, I think he gets credit for attendance, but perfect attendance doesn't qualify you to be class president. So I thought that it was a good gesture to go, but I thought his content was lacking. And one example is his calling Obamacare a non-essential program that he would cut. But he's had 2 years to come up with an alternative, and he didn't say anything except, I would like to lower health care costs and keep people with pre-existing...
At the top of the show, I said I thought the president should have been at the NAACP convention, pay his respects to the nation's oldest civil rights organization. I thought that would have been the right thing to do. He decided to send Joe Biden instead. What do you think?
Well, he sent Vice President Biden and the Attorney General. He is going to the National Urban League, which is down in New Orleans, and I think it provides him with an opportunity to see the continued rebuilding of Katrina and to check on the effects of the BP oil spill. So it enables him to do more than just speak at a convention. And at some point you have to make a decision of which ones you can go to. So it's almost like me and the president. I wish I could be at the White House every night and fly on Air Force One, but he has a job to do, and you can't do it.
He's got a full-time job. Maybe you should have gone to both Urban League and the NAACP.
You know where we'll stand. Congressman, I'm going to ask you kind of a similar question, but first, I want to listen to something that Governor Romney said to Fox News following his speech to the NAACP. Listen to this.
I expect to get African-American votes, and by the way, at the end of my speech, having a standing ovation was generous and hospitable on the part of the audience. And I believe that while we disagree on some issues like Obamacare, on a lot of issues people see eye to eye.
Romney says that he expects to get African-American votes, but, you know, you look at the polls, you look at the facts. President Obama won with 95% of the votes. I think Romney, here's a poll we have right here, that Romney has 5% support among black registered voters. Now, so what percentage of the African-American vote would you predict that Mitt Romney could get realistically?
Yeah, I think it's very realistic that Mitt Romney will get close to 10% of the African-American vote, and I'll start by being one of those 10%. There's no doubt that what we're looking at from a Romney perspective is the fact that African-American unemployment since 2008 is up 40%. 40%. Home closures, 25%. So what we have is the same message that works for the rest of America, works in the black community too.
But what he did today, did that backfire? I mean, he was booed.
Absolutely not. I think it's disrespectful, number one. I think the booing was absolutely disrespectful. However, he does get credit for showing up, but he does get credit for having one single-minded focus for all of America, and that's jobs and the economy. That was a success. And most importantly, I think, is his approach to education. Charter schools, public school choice, private school choice is a major part of the unemployment rate 10 years from now. So he addressed two very important issues in the African-American community. First, the joblessness, huge. Among young folks in the black community, it's almost 40%. And he addressed the symptom, which is the joblessness rate, as well as the problem, which is the educational outcome.
And he's got to get, Congressman, he's got to get turnout. He's got to energize that base. They were certainly returned. They were energized in 2008. But you know, in North Carolina and Florida, unemployment among African Americans is way over 14.4%, which is the national average for Africans. It's approaching 20%. In key battleground states like that, a lot of these folks, they're not going to vote for Romney, but they're just not going to show up.
I think they will show up, and part of what candidate Romney did today was articulate a problem. But what he didn't do is tell the full story, and he didn't say that the budget that he adopts, the Ryan budget, most of the cuts, 62% of the cuts come from lower-income Americans, including cuts to Head Start, which gives you a 9-to-1 return on your investment into young people. So if you're going to cut Head Start, you're going to cut Pell Grants that helps almost half of African-American college students pay for their college tuition, which we know helps you get out of poverty and on a path to sustainability. He left that part conveniently out, that the budget that I want to adopt cuts those vital programs. And I think that that's the part that I was looking for. If you're going to go to the NAACP and you're going to tell it all. And I don't think he did that. And I think that the more you articulate that message, the more the African-American base will see what's at stake this election.
Quick question. Alan West. He caused an uproar the other day. The African-American Republican congressman from South Florida.
Clear, though. This is where he's coming from.
Yeah, but let me play the clip because it's a very sensitive issue. The word slavery has a history in our country, as we all know. Listen to this.
He does not want you to have self getting up and earning and having that title of American. He'd rather you be his slave.
He would rather you be his slave. We're talking about the President of the United States. He says he wants you to be his slave.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it that when you look at the issues that need to be addressed in the community, slavery is not one of them. Bottom line is this: so unemployment is, the foreclosure rate is, the high dropout rate among our high school students is one of the issues that we must address.
But frankly, as the bottom line goes,
certainly. But the question we have to deal with today is how do we get people back to work? I mean, we can look at side issues if we want to, and we can make a great story out of it. But the reality of it is that the average person in America does not consider the African American community in any way a slave today.
Sure, but is it appropriate for a member of Congress representing a large segment of America to use this word, to say this in a public forum?
It's about the President of the United States.
I would suggest that you guys get Alan West sitting here and let him answer for himself. Absolutely. I would continue to do so. I would simply say that when we're looking at Mitt Romney cannot. Mitt Romney must focus on the presidency and how to win. And how do you win is by bringing the country together. Mitt Romney is doing that by going to the NAACP, as you call it, the Lion's Den. I consider it the place you go when you believe that every single vote counts. And it's a good thing.
Good surrogate.
Good to come in. Appreciate it very much. We know we're in good hands. You used to work for Allstate.
Allstate.
Had to make the joke. You know it's coming.
You know where you stand, Alan West, so that's why I didn't ask you about Alan West, Congressman. Thanks very much for coming in.